Hey guys, and this is part 3 of the Tell Me When guide, and I'm going to show you a few extra things we can do to make this rotation we made for Rhett just a little better. You'll notice if I was to switch into the Holy spec like I'm doing right now, there's going to be a slight problem. The rotation's still there. Now, this rotation was obviously made for Rhett, and when we're Holy, we don't really need a Rhett rotation showing on our screen. That just takes up space for what we could use for other icons. Now, we could set up conditions for each icon to only show while we're in Rhett spec, but a simpler method is to go to the group settings, and you'll see this section on the left here that says specialization. This just means that this group will show while in that specialization. So we can disable it for Prot, and we can disable it for Holy, and it's gone. The group isn't deleted, it's still there. The only thing is, now when we're not Retribution spec, it won't take up screen space. But if we switch back into Rhett, you'll notice it pops right back in the center of the screen. This is useful so that you can make multiple profiles on the same character without having your screen constantly cluttered by a whole bunch of icons you don't need. Another thing we can do is go back into group settings and choose group conditions. We can add a bunch of conditions here, and what this does, unlike the icon conditions, these are the conditions that would make this group show up on the screen at all. I like using unit reaction personally, as this makes it so that when you're targeting a hostile target, the group will show up. You could also set it to a friendly target if you want to be a healer or something along those lines. Now, while I'm targeting this training dummy, you'll see that it is there on the screen, but as soon as I switch over to the squire reading a book, since I can't attack him and he has no inclination to attack me, it won't show. It's a very simple way to make it so that your screen space isn't constantly cluttered by all your Tell Me When profiles and groups that you've established, but at the same time, when you do need them, they will appear in the center of your screen. Again, you can set it up however you'd like. If you prefer them to be in the center of your screen, or maybe even only show in combat, that's how you would do it. Now, we're missing one thing. We are Rhett Paladins, and us as Rhett Paladins, we have a resource. It's called Holy Power. Now, what we're going to want to do to track Holy Power is we could set up a bar like I showed you in the first video, but one thing I prefer doing is creating a new group. We'll have to increase it to 5 slots because we have 5 Holy Power, and we're going to do something with this. We're going to create another condition icon in the first slot. Again, double right click, go to condition icon, and again, we're going to go ahead and set up a custom texture. This time, let's use Holy Shield. That should do just fine. This will now represent our Holy Power in its current state. When we have 1, it'll be at 100%, and when we have 0, it'll be at 0% or hidden. The condition we're going to use is track Holy Power for a resource, and we're going to set this to equal 1. Now this will work, but it won't work for 2, 3, 4, or 5. Only when we have equal to 1. We could set it to greater or equal to 1, and that will fix the issue, but an easier way to do it is just set it to greater than 0. Now, when we have any amount of Holy Power greater than 0, this icon will show. We can go ahead and copy it over and move it here, and by double clicking with the right click there, we can increase that to 1, we can copy it again here, increase this one to 2, and so on and so forth. What we're doing is we're creating progressively increased Holy Power in the form of icons. And just to show you what that looks like, we'll go ahead and attack this target dummy, and again, since we copied that group earlier, it won't show up out of combat. So there's 1, there's 2, we'll get 3 and 4, and finally 5. And that's it. A simple Holy Power tracker. This will work for combo points, this will work for chi, and everything in between. Whatever you'd like to track, that's how you would do it. Now, there's another little bit of thing we can do here. You see, as we use it, they just kind of disappear instantly. Personally, I like them to have a little bit of animation so that it's easier to see them disappear, or it just makes it look nicer. So we'll add a notification to one of them, we'll set it to on hide as the condition trigger, and we'll choose fade out. And that's it. Now it's set that when this condition icon appears or disappears, in our case disappears, it will fade out. And we can do another thing, copy this here and copy the notification. And that will just copy the one notification we just created. We can do that again to all the other icons. And again, by closing this up, we'll hop into combat here. We'll generate 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Holy Power. But on using it this time, you'll notice that they fade out slowly. It makes it look a little nicer, and you can do a few things also for when they show, such as activation borders. You can make it so they flash, so you can make colors, you can make them so they flash alpha, and all other things right in between. And that's it. You now know how to make condition icon rotations, you know how to make cooldown trackers, buff trackers, and both type of resource trackers, being icons and bars themselves. But let's say you wanted to share this with a friend of yours who may not know all this stuff. Well, you can do that by clicking this button right here, Import Export. You'll see on the bottom there's two features, 2-string and 2-player. To send it to a player, you'll have to be on the same server and have them targeted, but the better thing to use is 2-string. We can send individual icons, we can send individual groups, whichever one we have selected when we do this. We can also send all our global groups if you have any, but we're going to go ahead and use profile. This will send all the groups, everything we've created. It'll create this big mass of text. It's a big bunch of wall of text there, but what this does is it's every single group we've created, and we can go ahead and paste that into Notepad and send it out, put it online. We can type it in game if it's short enough, but it's pretty long, and by sharing this, people can go ahead and import it into their own profiles and use what we've set up for themselves. Now, let's say that we have this text. The question is, how do you import it? Well, let's go ahead and cover that too. To import, it's the same sort of method. We'll go ahead and copy and paste everything into this bottom bar with Control-C, Control-V. Click this button, and now you'll see From String is highlighted. We can go and see all these options. Now, normally you would just want to overwrite and take everything they've sent, but let's say you just want a single group. Well, they're all listed right there. Feel free to take whichever group you want, but if you click overwrite, now you have their profile, exactly how they set it up on their screen. And if they anchored it properly, then it'll look exactly the way they set it up. Since we anchored everything to the anchor group, then it's going to appear in the center of the screen based on its X and Y coordinates. And all the conditions and all the notifications and everything that we've set up is sent with it. So that's it. You have a brand new group made by someone else, but it functions the way you want. And you now know all the things you need to know if you want to add things to it, maybe fix a few things if you think they made a mistake, and go and take this any way you want. Now, this is the final video for basic guides. I could go ahead and make advanced guides to show you just how to get all these extra little details to make these work really, really well. So let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. But I also want to take a moment, and I've had a huge surge in just subscribers in the last basically few weeks, so I want to thank everyone who's new to the channel, people who were subscribed before, who came for the content initially, and all the people who are coming right now. Thank you very much for all the subscription, for taking interest in what I'm doing, and I hope you guys continue to like the content I put out in the future. Now, Legion comes out on Tuesday, so expect a ton more Legion videos as we move forward, and I will catch you guys later.